everybody on YouTube, it's Rachel, the Student Witch, and we are finally, drumroll please, we are finally here to do the drawing for #fertilityfebruary, and we're mostly through March, but life happened, technical difficulties and time constraints happened, but we are finally wrapping up Fertility February, and toward the end of this video, in a couple 3 minutes, I'll be drawing the name out of here for in my plastic cauldron for the people who decided to participate in my giveaway to win their copy of this book, specifically the fully revised and updated 20th anniversary edition of Taking Charge of Your Fertility. And I figured before diving into the giveaway, I wanted to kind of give everybody a sneak peek of all the information that's in this book, and it's quite a bit, as you can see by its thickness. And I also wanted to emphasize really how affordable this book is. I know it looks like a super expensive college textbook, and anybody who went to college knows that textbooks can be super expensive. But actually, I bought my copy at my local Barnes & Noble for around $25 plus tax. It is also available on Amazon, which is how I'm going to be purchasing the winner's copy. It's available on Amazon Prime, and the last time I checked, it was around $17 plus tax. So for around 20 bucks, you get all of this information, so it's super affordable, and I don't want anybody to get discouraged from buying this book if they really think they can benefit from the method. Please don't get discouraged. It's super affordable. So let's look at the table of contents just to give everybody an idea of what to expect. So let me zoom in. Hopefully that is going to be, is that in focus? Autofocus, please be my friend. Okay, so of course you have the introduction and everything and acknowledgements, and then breaking fertile ground towards a new way of thinking. So this is just more of an introduction about fertility awareness, what you should know, why you probably don't know, and taking control. So like an introductory chapter. And then rediscovering your cycle and your body. So these sets of chapters 3 through 6 are really just an overview of both the female reproductive organ system and the male reproductive organ system, which is really important, basic anatomy lesson. And it goes into really great detail, not just about the organs that are involved, but the different hormones that are involved. There are multiple hormones. It's not just estrogen and progesterone. And actually, there's more than one type of estrogen, right? There are all sorts of different hormones and fluctuations, and it really shows you in detail about how those hormones fluctuate over your cycle, how in your follicular phase, your ovaries are producing more estrogen, and then that kind of tapers off, and then once the estrogen stops and you've released the egg at ovulation, then you produce more progesterone, and like how those fluctuations work. It was really fascinating, and actually I thought I had a pretty good grasp of how my reproductive organs and hormones and whatnot worked, but I learned a lot in this set of chapters, and I believe that most people would. Part 3, being proactive with your health. So there's a chapter about kind of troubleshooting an ovulatory cycle. So if you have a cycle where you don't ovulate, or if you realize after and through your charts that you have multiple cycles per year when you don't ovulate, what that could mean, how that could be a sign of health issues like PCOS and that kind of stuff, and irregular cycles. And then the 3 prevalent conditions all women should be aware of. And I'm just going to take a little second here to point out how this book is kind of cis-normative. It assumes that the word women encompasses everyone who identifies as a woman. So it assumes that all people who identify as women have or are cis-normative, so have ovaries and a functioning uterus and are of menstruating age and whatnot. So that is one little downside to the book. It's not inclusive in that way. However, it is inclusive in the sense that it doesn't assume that everyone is straight. It doesn't assume that everyone is in a heteronormative relationship. There is no religious bias or ideology in the book. It's very secular, so I still think that everybody can benefit from the information in the book. I just wish it was a little bit more inclusive. But anyway, so yeah, 3 conditions that all people with uteruses should be aware of. So ovarian cysts, endometriosis, and PCOS, because those are some of the most common health issues with the reproductive organs. So, and it goes into detail and gives you actually example charts of how to recognize a chart that shows that the person has PCOS. So actually, let's go to this chapter, 125. Let's see. Page 125. Alright, so here's that chapter about the 3 most common health issues that you need to look out for in your charts. And here's an actual chart by one of the author's clients. I do believe she either changes the name or she just doesn't include people's last names. But here's Chloe's chart. And this is a chart that shows a follicular cyst. And she kind of gives information here and throughout the chapter of how to read this chart and recognize that there is a cyst happening. And here's Michi's chart of a corpus luteum cyst. Hannah's chart of a luteinized, what does that say? Unruptured follicle. And it goes into detail about what these different types of cysts are. Which types of cysts you don't really need to worry about too much, which types of cysts you do need to worry about, all that kind of stuff. And even includes these handy dandy reference charts of the different types of cysts and their signs and how they're going to show up in your chart and how to figure out which type of cyst you may or may not have if you're experiencing cysts, right? And here is an endometriosis example chart. So yeah, I really wanted to show the specific information in this book, because if you just see from the cover and see how thick it is, this book seems kind of daunting, but really it's a very useful, practical, well-organized handbook and reference guide for the fertility awareness method. And it really shows, there's part 4 is about natural birth control, but it also really shows that connection of the menstrual cycle to your overall health and how different problems in your overall health might show up in your menstrual cycle and vice versa. So that's what I really appreciate about this book, is the amount of information is here. Is a lot, but it's presented to you in a very practical way so that you don't need to sit down and read this cover to cover, right? You can focus on the parts of the book that are most pertinent to you and use this as a reference guide, right? And I love all the example charts that are included. And then part 5. Is this in focus? I hope. But part 5 is a pregnancy achievement. And part 6, beyond fertility, particular benefits of charting your cycle. And so here it goes into gynecological health, appreciating your sexuality and nurturing your relationships. So there's chapters about how this method not only benefits you in your knowledge about your body and getting to know your body and using it as a form of birth control or for achieving pregnancy, but it bleeds into, no pun intended, it bleeds into all, well, for me, I found multiple aspects of my life, and that's why I really wanted my partner to come on here and share his perspective and talk about how our relationship has benefited since I've started this this cycle. And then the appendix, or the appendices part of the book starts. And the appendices, I believe it starts back here. It's a pretty substantial chunk of the book, and it has loads of useful information. So there's a basic information for all readers at the beginning of the appendices, right? There's a troubleshooting your cycle, so it gives even more example charts and more specific information for trying to figure out if you notice that something is off about your cycle. You would go to Appendix A to troubleshoot it, to kind of narrow down exactly what might be going on. And then this part of the appendices, parts D, actually goes into detail about how effective this method is really. And then there's a section in the appendices about pregnancy achievement and then miscellaneous resources. That was a brief overview of this book. Again, it's really affordable. It looks like a huge, thick, expensive college textbook, but really for around $20 to $25, this can be yours. I know it's available at Barnes & Noble, or at least it was available there for me, because when I first found out about this book, like the 2-day shipping with the Amazon Prime was not quick enough. Like, I needed this in my hands that day, so I drove down to Barnes & Noble and got it. You can also order it through barnesandnoble.com through them, or just Amazon Prime. And it does look kind of daunting, and I know everybody's busy, but like I said, the way the book is organized, you can pick and choose the chapters that are most pertinent to you. For example, there's a chapter about postpartum and how to chart your cycles when you haven't had your period yet after giving birth, or if you're breastfeeding. I don't have a kid. I don't plan on getting pregnant anytime soon, so I just skipped those chapters. Right? So just, yeah, I just wanted to, like, give that little caveat. It looks daunting, but really it's the information is provided in a very accessible, understandable way. You don't need to be an OBGYN, you don't need a doctorate in physiology or whatever to get what's in this book. Anybody can pick this up and read it and digest it and use it successfully. Okay, now the time has come. Let's figure out who's gonna win their copy. I'm not looking. Did I just pick one? Okay. What is this? Strega of the Green. Congratulations! Yay! You are the winner. Da 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 da. Come on down. The price is right. Strega of the Green. Yay! So yeah. I'm going to have my email address appear here. My email address always appears at the end of my videos, by the way. And I'll give you a couple of weeks or so to contact me. Please email me at that address, and then we'll arrange the right time and method for you to receive this book. And thanks again to everybody who's been commenting on the series. When I first started the series, I didn't really know how much interest was really out there for this, but I've received throughout the series and different videos, I received such great words of encouragement and people thanking me for creating this series, people excited to get their hands on a copy of this book. Yeah, just people thanking me for putting this information out there. And that's really the reason I started this series in the first place, because I think a lot of people could benefit from just the information in this book, and if you decide to use the method, like, even better. So yeah, Striger of the Green, congratulations! Yay! And thanks to everybody who participated in the drawing. I wish I could buy everybody a copy, but I'm a poor grad student. So. But if you didn't win, this book is still super affordable. You can still go on Amazon Prime, and within 2 days it'll be at your doorstep and you can start devouring this book. So yeah, thanks everybody, and this brings Fertility February to a close, finally, on March 19th. Anyhow, yeah, this is great. And until next time, happy charting. Bye!